Now when Jesus came into the district of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, "Who do people say that the Son of Man is?" And they said, "Some say John the Baptist, but others Elijah, and still others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets." Jesus said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" Simon Peter answered, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." And Jesus answered him, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father who is in heaven. And I tell you, you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not prevail against it. I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whether you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven." Then Jesus sternly ordered his disciples not to tell anyone he was the Messiah. The next time you're watching the news and hear a politician or a public official asked a really tough question, I want you to listen for something. You'll hear the question, and then the answer will almost always begin with, "That's not the question. The real question is," and the interviewee will be off and running on their talking parts and never really answer what has been asked. This kind of deflection, as we call it in communication theory, stops them from ever appearing as if they don't know an answer. But every once in a while, a public official is stopped in his or her tracks by a question that is so good that they actually do have to think about an answer. It happens so rarely that when you do see it, it will stick in your memory for a very long time. One of the best questions that I ever heard was asked by Bob Surratt and was directed at Cardinal Francis George. Surratt was going through the usual litany of questions that the Cardinal had heard 1,000 times before and could answer sound asleep without engaging a single neuron. Cardinal George is a very, very, very bright man. And one doesn't get to be cardinal by flubbing questions on gay clergy or women clergy or married clergy or Father Flaker or clergy misbehavior. So while Surratt was running through his obligatory lists of questions, the Cardinal was responding with his own list of non-spontaneous answers. Then Surratt asked a question that the Cardinal had clearly never been asked before and had no pat answer to. Surratt asked, "Is there anything you'd like to do that you can't do because you're the Cardinal?" It was a great question, and it stopped the Cardinal, who does have a gift of gab and is a person that is a hail fellow, well met. He stopped, and he had to think. You could see him lean back in his chair, and in the moment he was taking to answer the question, I thought to myself, of course there is. You can't just wander down the street and take in a movie have a beer with your buddies at the corner saloon. You can't just settle in with friends to watch a Cubs or Sox game at the ballpark. Dinner out can be done, but it's very hard because all the time you're eating, you'll be on stage with people watching your every move. In the moment the Cardinal was thinking, I'm sure he came up with a list far longer than mine. But then he finally caught himself, regained his composure, and said something like, there are, but I like being the Cardinal. It's all right, it's good. It was such a basic question. But sometimes those questions are the best.